So why don't we start with the NBA games, just because that's fresh. It just the first opening day was 2 days ago,
Tuesday.
and well, why don't we just start? Do you want me to share my screen, or should we just go over it while
We could
we're
just
looking?
go over it.
All right. So on Tuesday, first game, opening day for the NBA season was the Sixers and the Celtics. Why don't you talk a little bit about why your team is so bad?
Oh, that's a rough one
I'm
after
sorry.
just one game. But
Why don't you talk about why you guys miss Ben Simmons more than anything?
I mean, we'll get to that game, but he was an atrocity last night. But getting back to the season opener on Tuesday, I know it wasn't going to be a walk in the park for us. Starting off in Boston on the road, the defending Eastern Conference champions, Tatum and Brown, probably in my opinion the best backcourt duo in the league. They both, showed that in this game, each dropping 35 points apiece. They just couldn't be stopped. The Sixers on the defensive end didn't have any answers for them. And then the Sixers' problem in this game, even though your top three best players in Embiid, Maxey, and Harden all scored 20 plus points. Harden dropped 35 as well. That's got to be like one of the first times in NBA history where three players in a game scored 35 points each. But this game was just all about one-on-one basketball, in my opinion. The Sixers played way too much one-on-one basketball. Harden trying to do his dance moves, and they worked. He was our leading scorer, but you're not going to beat a team like the Celtics trying to play through one or two guys. Embiid had a quiet 26 points. I still will never understand, even though he can shoot, why he always just hangs out at the 3-point line all the time. But just kind of with that type of play, it was hard to get other guys going. And that's kind of what ended up happening. And it was a pretty close game through three quarters. And then the Celtics just kind of pulled away in the end. Tough start to the season for the Sixers, obviously. We got Milwaukee at home tonight. That's an ad. We got Milwaukee at home tonight, and then we got your Knicks coming up after that.
That's right.
So it's very possible we could start off 0-3 to start the year. Which with basketball, there's 82 games. There's so many games. I'm not worried at all. But
and any game is a toss up, really. I mean, I think what's kind of notable about the Sixers, I mean, you could really sum it up in like that one highlight clip from James Harden where he dropped the defender and then he airballed. That's pretty much the epitome of what happened to the Sixers. Like everyone had a great game individually, but you're right. Like there's no team basketball, and clearly the bench is is not deep, which is going to be an issue with, I think. Actually, was Dwight hurt, or is he not on the team anymore?
He's not on any team right now.
Oh, you guys have Montrez, right?
Yeah.
I think not having that backup center, like I thought Drummond did an amazing job for you guys. Yeah. And Dwight the year before that. Having someone to spell Joel so he doesn't inevitably get hurt like he always does, because he does too much. That's important, I think. And I don't know if Montrez is going to be able to carry the load. He's not like a defensive anchor like the other two are, and rebounding guys. So we'll have to see, but they need some help on the bench, it kind of seems.
Yeah, and I try to be optimistic with this team, but I also need to be realistic at the same time. And so many of my friends who are Sixers fans, which I can kind of see from your perspective as a New York fan, why it pisses you off when Sixers fans can be overly optimistic. But a lot of my friends who are Philly fans were saying how deep we're going to be this year at the bench. We did make a lot of great signings, which I will admit, but I just with the way this team's looked over the past several years, and with the way some of the teams have looked, it's only been one or two games so far this year, but looking at some of these teams, especially in the Eastern Conference, in a packed Eastern Conference, like the Bulls looked good last night, the Cavs looked good last night, the Raptors looked good last night, the Hawks looked good last night.
Yep.
The Knicks, despite losing, looked good last night. It's just a lot of good teams, and you can battle your way through the first round, become that second round where the Sixers have lost 3 straight years. It could just be more of the same, in my opinion. Like
maybe,
and a lot of it is just depth, like you brought up, which is a good point, because we have some good depth with like Montrezl Harrell's a good backup, but he didn't do anything in this game.
Mm-hmm.
D'Anthony Melton didn't do anything in this game. Shake Milton didn't even play for us. Furkan didn't even play for us.
Neither did
Um,
Bible.
Neither did Thibault. Got like one minute, not even.
It says he got 0.
Yeah, I don't even know if he played for like 2 seconds or something. I think. I don't even know if he saw the floor, but the depth
Yeah,
is just
man.
where it
Yeah,
is. And then you look at a team like Boston, like
they're
Grant
so
Williams.
deep.
Grant Williams played really well for them. Malcolm Brogdon played really well for them. They're just a very deep team, and
And they don't even have Robert Williams right now.
don't have Robert Williams. He'll be out for the first half of the year, so
Yep.
I'm a
But
little bit worried.
Brogdon played great.
Yeah, so as a Sixers fan, I'm a little bit worried, to be honest. We'll play well. We'll figure out our groove. We'll find that stretch throughout the year where we'll play really well, but in terms of a postseason, which is a far time from now,
I'm sure they'll be back. Like, my guess is probably, I mean, I don't really see how the Sixers don't get to the Eastern Conference at least semis again. But, I mean, they if they have to play a good team, like if they have to play the Bucks, if they're fully healthy, that's going to be a really difficult matchup for them. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. As good as Tobias is, like he's not matching up with Giannis.
no, 0% chance.
Yeah, and Chris Middleton probably also, at least offensively, will take care of business because he wasn't even in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, and then let's look at the other game. I pretty much expected the Warriors to win this one.
Yeah, that was. Yeah,
Did you see them getting their rings? It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
I was like,
I
watching
expected
that.
this also. I mean, they're probably gonna win the title again if we're being honest. I mean,
yeah, you want to talk about a deep team. Sorry, I don't know why these ads keep playing.
yeah, you're good.
You want to talk about a deep team. The Warriors doesn't get any deeper than that. Just with Kuminga signing Gerald Green, Wiseman's back. They got DiVincenzo, which was a huge addition. Jordan Poole, after the $104 million contract he just got, or it might have been $95 million. I think it was 104.
I think it was 100.
104
million, over 100.
something like that. I think it was 104. Yeah. He came off the bench, played most of the game, played 28 minutes, but only had 12 points. And then it was just Steph being Steph, 33 points. Clay, I know they were kind of easing him back in. They're trying to be careful with his minutes. He played pretty well, but it kind of just seems, Jay, like, and give me your thought on the Lakers this year, just with all the controversy with bringing Russell back and that team. Like they had some good offseason acquisitions with Lonnie Walker.
I like Lonnie a lot.
And I like Kendrick Nunn too.
Me too.
Cole Swider's a good shooter out of Syracuse, and they got Toscano Anderson from the Warriors.
He's fine.
But pretty much other than AD and LeBron giving you 25 plus points a game, they just don't really have anything else. And the scary thing with the Lakers, which I could foresee happening with them this year, is overly utilizing LeBron and him getting injured. What happens every year with AD, him coming with some type of injury. And when those two guys go down, or even if one of those two guys go down, you have to put, bench them at some point throughout the game. And that's when they're going to, start to get in trouble and start to lose a lot of games. So,
yeah,
really wouldn't be surprised if they don't make the playoffs again this year.
I don't see them making the playoffs again. I think their team is atrocious. Like for how hyped up they were, especially like last year, where it was seeming like there was a shot they were definitely going to make a push, especially after the bubble. Like the bubble, they won, right? So like you would think they come back from that, a couple more additions, and they'd be better. But I don't see how these guys work. Like Russell doesn't work with Pat Bev. That combo doesn't make sense, and they both can't shoot. So that doesn't work. And then you have guys like Lonnie, who's a defensive like maestro, but he also is not a great shooter. Like they don't have shooting.
And they don't have no shooting. And LeBron even said that the other day.
Yeah, he did. I was gonna say the fact that Austin Reeves is like getting this much playing time again, it kind of just shows how they have zero depth. Like he should not be an every game crucial rotation player. He's a solid, but you can't have him be one of your best players, and then that's it. Because like you're right, like if they overutilize LeBron and he gets hurt, they're screwed because Anthony Davis is not staying healthy this whole year. I anytime I think of Anthony Davis, I think of that like NBA 2K meme that they said the game is so realistic and he plays 2 minutes and he's walking and gets hurt. Like that's what Anthony Davis is. He's just a walking injury. And when you have that and you have no one behind him who can backfill, you're screwed. Like I don't see them going anywhere. I thought this is very embarrassing team. And the worst part is they have no picks. So even if they lose, that doesn't really do them anything.
Yeah, and they're home tonight for their home opener against the Clippers, which will be fun to see their debut. Just with Paul George and Kawhi finally back healthy, and John Wall in that mix.
That'll be great.
They're really. You said this about my fantasy team at the beginning of the year, Jay. I think the Clippers are a very boomer bust team. They're a team that could
easily. When did I say that about your fantasy team?
You did. You said my team was very boomer bust, which it is.
Because of Michael Thomas, who's also like Anthony Davis.
And just like Hopkins and Kamara and the dependency on them staying healthy, which makes sense for my team to be boomer bust.
I mean, I guess every team though is boomer bust if you think about it.
I don't want to hear your excuses.
This year, this is the lowest historically low year of scoring ever, or I guess in the recent history. So I mean,
of what, our fantasy league?
No. Like scoring in the league is very low.
All right. Well, we'll get to football in a little bit. But back to basketball.
Back to basketball.
The point I was trying to make is the Clippers, if they stay healthy, they could be very dangerous. And if they don't, they could be very similar to like the Lakers in this, kind of how they were last year, just with being threat in the West. But if they can't stay healthy, it's a big problem. But
you think the Lakers missed Zubac, who was a diamond in the rough, and then they just let him go for nothing?
The Clippers center?
Mm-hmm. Used to be a Laker.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. They're definitely missing that big man presence down low, which they could use. The Lakers really haven't had big man threats in Shaq. And AD is great, but he plays more like a small forward in some ways. So they definitely missed that big man presence down low. And they're gonna have their hands full tonight going up against the Clippers.
Yeah, they will. I wonder if there'll be more Clippers fans, just given how garbage this team is. I mean, again,
it still pisses me. It still pisses me off that they're not the Staples Center anymore.
Oh, right, they're not. What are they now?
It's like the crypto arena, something like that.
That just seems wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the opening night, and then we'll just kind of move through yesterday's games. I guess we'll start with the Knicks. I thought the Knicks looked exactly like they looked last year, to be honest, and that's not an encouraging sign. RJ had a really, really bad game. Brunson had foul trouble to start the game, so that he didn't really get going. And I just feel like the rotation is terrible. Like, I don't think Tom Thibodeau is. I mean, he's a very great defensive-minded coach, but offense is not his thing. I don't really know if this is a thing, but they should hire an offensive coordinator. He can't do anything on offense. There's no play calls. It's just ISO over and over and over again. Julius Randle had a great game, but barely played Mitchell Robinson. Cam Reddish had a breaking out party, which was awesome to see. But I don't know. Like, this team is like barely a play-in team. I think it honestly says more about the Grizzlies that the Grizzlies kept us close than the Knicks being resilient. The Grizzlies are a good team, like a very good team. And Ja is an elite player. But him showboating like that is going to screw him in the long run. He made so many bad passes by doing no-lookers behind the backs. Like, he threw the ball away over and over and over. And some of them didn't show up on the stat sheet because luckily his guys caught balls that were behind him or it got tipped. But that will screw him if he keeps doing that. They blew a 19-point lead against the Knicks.
Yeah.
That's pathetic. Especially for a team that's just underperforming like that. You can't do that. But I don't know. I mean, I don't really think there. Did you watch some of it too? Did you think there are any takeaways from it, really, besides from what I just mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, I watched almost all of it, and Mike Breen said this, and I thought it was a good point. Is the Knicks really are a centerpiece away from being a competitive team, meaning they just need one more like guy who can score day in and day out, and that's what they were hoping for. And Donnie Mitchell, who they
Yeah.
missed out on.
Yep.
But the funny thing about this game, though, is as much as the Grizzlies blew this team away, and I expected them to blow them away, the Knicks held their own. Like you put, Ja made some bad plays. He had 6 turnovers in the game. They let them crawl their way back into it. And the Knicks, like Julius Randle had in the second half, he played much better than he did in the first half. Like
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson is just like the center, not the centerpiece, but he's just kind of like as the point guard, he holds that offense together, which was a big acquisition for the Knicks because they need that one player who can kind of bring everyone together and make plays happen. But then it was funny overtime, even though it's only 5 minutes, the Knicks only scored 4 points, which is terrible.
Yeah.
And
It's
they
so bad.
and yet somehow they had that open look to tie it to send it to double OT.
And it went in and out. Yeah.
So they got a good look. I think the Knicks will be fine this year. Like they're a scrappy team. They do have some depth, I think, with Toppin and Reddish. They just need to find ways to
Like Toppin barely played.
Yeah, Toppin barely played at all. He's got to play more. Reddish with 22 points off the bench was great. Quickly didn't really see much playing time.
He didn't play great at all.
Yeah, he didn't score. Derrick Rose didn't play well. But I think the Knicks will be a scrappy team, whether they miss the playoffs or find their way into the playing game. I think you need to give them a little bit more credit where credit's due.
I'm just a hard critic of my own team.
And they played a tough Grizzlies team, and Ja Morant's one of the best players in the league. He's a superstar, 34 points. Like they just had no answer for him at all. That pick and roll with Steven Adams is second to none.
Steven Adams is the most underrated center in the league.
Absolutely,
he's so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
A lot of basketball left to be played. We'll see what happens.
I think the biggest thing for them, and we can definitely move on. They need to figure out a rotation that works because you can't have Isaiah Hartenstein playing 40 minutes a game and not play the guy you just signed an extension, Mitchell Robinson. And furthermore, they also didn't play Obi Toppin, who's in his 3rd year. He still doesn't get playing time as like this is his chance. Like he played so well at the end of last year and so did Quickly. And they didn't they just don't get chances to play.
There ain't no stopping Obi Toppin.
There ain't no stopping Obi Toppin.
You can't stop him if he's on the bench.
That is true. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So whatever. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. They didn't have Quentin Grimes in this game either, so that kind of hurt. But they didn't have, Grizzlies didn't have Jaren Jackson still whooped us. So.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of basketball left to play. This is why I love basketball. I'm so happy it's back. There were so many great opening night games that I want to jump to. I guess the next one I'll just look at is the Suns Mavs game. This was the late game.
Yep.
I don't know if you were able to catch any of it, but
I didn't watch this one.
The Mavs were blowing the Knicks out the entire game.
You mean the Suns?
The Mavs were blowing the Suns out.
I'm sure they will blow out the Knicks, but
I'm sure they will too. The Mavs were blowing them out the entire game. The Suns had no response for them. Luka was doing Luka things. He had 35 in this game. He did so many of his patented where he's on the left side of the court, and he kind of wheels the guy in and then does his step back 3 and then back pedals. He did that so many times, and this was the rematch of the Western Conference semifinals when the Mavs took the Suns down. So I expected the Suns to come out with a little bit more urgency to kind of get some vengeance, but they didn't do that through the first 2.5 quarters of the game. They were just beat. I think they were down by 20 plus points at one point. and then it was just a tale of two halves. And in the second half, the Suns just turned it on. They were playing Suns basketball like they've been doing over the past several years. Like the Suns are still like, I think it's gonna be more of the same for them. They're a great team. They're gonna be a top three team in the West, in my opinion. Um, but it's more a matter of if they can get a deep run going again. Like Chris Paul isn't the same player anymore, so they're kind of living and dying through Devin Booker.
You can't
Um,
blame him.
and bringing DeAndre Ayton back was big for him, big for them. There's a whole the reason they matched the Pacers offer was to bring him back because he's such a centerpiece to this team. He's their big man down low.
That situation was really weird.
Yeah,
That Ayton situation. Like
very
he and
strange.
Monty do not like each other.
Yeah, they do not. They do not have a good relationship, but he's still a big part of this team. You
have to play him.
You have to play him double last night, and the Suns just kind of slowly clawed their way back into this game and tied it up. And then with like 3 seconds left, one of the Suns signings from the Warriors in the offseason, Damian Lee, scored the game winner, and they pulled off the comeback, which was big for them. Booker did his thing. Like I said, Luka's the MVP frontrunner right now with the performance he put on last night. It was
Booker has to be one of the best draft picks in the late lottery ever.
Oh,
like
yeah.
and like him, and I also think of like Donnie Mitchell also was late lottery. These are random guys that he was the third best player from Kentucky in that draft, and still was taken much higher than people thought, because they thought he was just a shooter, and then turns into what he is. It's pretty insane. Meanwhile, guys like RJ Hunter, who people thought was going to be amazing, if you remember him. Do you remember RJ Hunter? Went to the Celtics. He was like the 22nd pick of a draft a long time ago.
I thought you were combining RJ Barrett and DeAndre Hunter for a second.
He was what team was he on? His dad, I'm pretty sure, coached him.
I've never heard of him, which means something.
He was 28th. Where did he play? Oh, Georgia State.
That says it all right there,
I guess. Anyway.
But a lot of other great games. Jay, is there a certain game you want to go to? Do you want to look at the
I feel like
Nets
you gotta
game?
go to what?
I was gonna say
let's go to the Nets game. I was thinking we go Magic Pistons, the tale of two rookies.
Yeah, it's a great one too. We can go there next.
Okay, so let's go to the Nets game first. So my friend who's he actually watches, I did not realize that. Matthias, shout out Matthias. He's from Denmark. He's here and he went to the Nets game, absolutely hammered. Great game to go to. That game was awesome and it was electric. The thing that wasn't electric was Ben Simmons' performance. But watching Zion come back, that's awesome. The first bucket of the game for him. He misses a shot. He's a freaking pogo stick. He's like 6'7", 285, and he can get up with like a 40-inch vertical. It's insane to watch him work. And he,
I remember when we were making fun of him because of his Subway commercials last year and his injuries, but he looks to be in pretty solid shape.
He does. He had to get his shit together because he was looking pretty chunky in those. It was Mountain Dew. That was
Mountain Dew. What did I say? Subway. Subway's good for you.
I think you're talking about Russell Wilson.
I'm talking whatever.
Danger Witch. Yeah, I don't know, dude. He was drinking a ton of Mountain Dew at that point in time, but he obviously got in shape. He still looks, honestly, to me, a little chunky.
But let the man eat. He deserved it last night.
Whatever. Yeah, he deserved it. The Pelicans beat the Nets. That's got to be one that we didn't expect. Pelicans got actually a pretty decent team, I would say. Like, CJ McCollum was a huge addition, and we knew him and BI, like, once they had Zion back and they have Valanciunas, like, this is a team, and like Herb Jones, like, this is a team that you don't want to mess with.
They're gonna be a playing team.
Yeah, they're like a good team. And I enjoy watching them a lot. I didn't even like they have Larry Nance too now. Like
they're one of those teams where they'll like find a way to like I said, win one of those playing games, and then in whether they're the 7th or 8th seed, and they have to play the Suns or the
That'll be a tough
Warriors,
matchup, yeah.
they're gonna lose, but like they're gonna find a way to win 1 or 2 games just because they have depth. And the Pelicans did that last year in the playoffs.
Mhm.
They found ways to win games, and if they can stay healthy, which is something they're going to really try to focus on this year with Zion and Ingram, that's a pretty dangerous front court duo, and like Herb Jones and Valanciunas and McCollum, like it's a dangerous team. And then Larry Nance, Devontae Graham, Alvarado
Jose
coming off the bench.
Alvarado.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is one of the funniest players to watch when he stays at the side of the court pretending that he's out of it and then comes behind you and pickpockets.
Yeah, and you can't forget about Bo Cruz either.
Bo Cruz. Yeah.
And
He was so good in really that movie, not in real life. What else is about this game? Oh, I guess we could talk about the other side. I still hate Kyrie Irving, fun fact. And he sucked, so that made me happy.
yeah,
Ben Simmons, yeah, 4 points, 5 rebounds, fouls out. I don't really know if there's much to say about it. He was a minus 26. That's pretty bad.
makes me happy to see.
Kevin Durant was awesome, as he always is. He'll definitely be one of the best players to ever play. Definitely one of if not the most gifted scorers ever. They don't have very much depth either. That is going to be their biggest downfall.
What's the deal with Joe Harris?
I think he's still hurt.
Yeah, I mean they just don't have a whole lot of shooters on this team. They're not a team that's scary. Like at one point in this league, obviously they're seasoned veterans, but at one point in this league, you're like, when you see Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on the same team, you're scared to see that.
You're shaking in your boots.
Yeah, and adding Ben Simmons to that, we thought would be scary, but after last night, the performance they put up, they're not a team that you're going to back down to.
Yeah. They're one of those teams that like are so top heavy that they'll still make the playoffs because the top is so top of the game. Like Kyrie and KD, they'll still get them in the playoffs, but how far they go is going to be dependent on who can step up, and if Joe Harris can get healthy, that'll be huge for them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I thought it was interesting Cam Thomas barely played because he's been looking awesome in like summer league and late last year he played really well. So I'm surprised they haven't given him more run. But whatever. All right, so let's get to this game. The Magic and the Pistons. This is a fun game.
Yeah, because it's just two of like the worst teams in the league. Two teams that are rebuilding and
of course super young.
Not
super
teams
athletic.
Not teams you want to watch, but a fun game just with the young and up and coming superstars who both performed really well.
Oh yeah. I mean, they had Jalen Duren, who like there were multiple posters in this game too. Jalen Duren played amazing. He was I think, if I remember this correctly, he's one of 2 players ever to have a double-double in his first NBA game. It's him and Dwight Howard, so really good company. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't really understand the Bogdanovich move. I guess the Pistons thought they'd be like semi-competitive, but they look really good. Like, give it to the Pistons. I love Cade Cunningham. I thought he would be amazing. Jaden Ivey I wanted so badly on the Knicks. So that hurts my soul. Jalen Duren was another guy the Knicks traded to the Pistons, so I hate my life. And Sadiq Bey was such a good pick from them. He's been amazing.
For as bad of a team as they are, like you said, Sadiq Bey is great.
Yeah,
Bogdanovich bringing him in from Utah was big, and Isaiah Stewart's a scumbag. But
he's a scumbag. I hate it.
He's definitely a presence down low.
Yeah.
Cunningham had like a quiet 18 points, but he's going to perform well for you every game. And adding Jaden Ivey was big for them. Like
so much speed.
Yeah, they're the young up and coming team. The ex-Nick Kevin Knox coming off the bench, and Jalen Duren was a good draft pick. I think he went 13th overall. But he coming off the bench.
Oh, I guess he didn't play.
Get out of here with Nerlens.
Dang it.
And then the Bucks, not the Bucks. What am I thinking? The Bucks, the Magic.
Yeah.
They have a pretty good team too, even though they lost this one with.
It's a really young team.
Yeah, Paolo in his debut, 27
So good.
points. You love to see that. He had one monster jam
Yeah,
um, in this game. Franz Wagner played
he's so
well.
good. That
Jalen Suggs is a beast.
I can't believe Franz is that good. Like that's another one late lottery. He's so talented.
Mo Bamba and Bol Bol coming off the bench.
I
Chumo
forgot they
Kiki.
have Bobo now.
Yeah, and um,
Jalen Suggs played really
Cole
well.
Anthony didn't even play either. So
Jalen Suggs is a damn good player, and he was hurt a lot of last year. So
yeah.
that's nice to see out of Gonzaga, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Let's just highlight if there's a couple more.
Yeah, there's so many games. The Heat and Bulls one was a pretty fun game. The Bulls won on the road actually.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good game. The Hawks played really well. DeJounte Murray had a double double. Did now our boy DeAndre Hunter? Did he do well, or I didn't really watch this game too close? Oh yeah, he
Our
had a
boy.
great game. Our boy, he had a
Yeah,
great game.
he
10
played
for
well.
16.
Yeah, 22 points.
Yeah,
He played well, earned that money, earned that bag. They're going to be a
He's-
pretty
yeah.
good team too. Trey Young, DeJounte Murray. Hawks are going to be solid this year.
Hawks are a good team. Kevin Porter Jr. just got the bag. I mean, he's super talented offensively. He's a good playmaker, but I mean, it's amazing when you're 9 for 19, you're 3 for 5 from 3, you have 21 points, and yet somehow and 7 assists, 7 rebounds, and you're still a minus 13. Like that just tells you all you need to know about Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other highlights or anything that we want to go over?
Not really.
Any surprises? I think a surprise was Utah winning. They don't even want to win.
Yeah, I was gonna say they don't even want to win. And the Nuggets with Jokic played well, 27 points.
Jamal Murray's back.
Getting Jamal Murray back.
Love that.
But from the get go, they were just playing from behind, 20 points the whole game. Colin Sexton with 20 points off the bench in his Jazz debut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was not a game they should have lost, but I'm sure the Nuggets will bounce back.
I think
the Twin Towers in Minnesota with Cat and Gobert in his debut. Yeah. Gobert played really well. Something I love seeing from that was Cat just kind of does this thing down low, and a good addition to that is when he is kind of double teamed, he just throws the lob to Gobert, and Gobert is just such a big specimen. He's going to be a tough player to stop down there. So they're another team in the West that's going to be a scrappy team.
I feel like this year more than most is really open again.
It's really open for both conferences.
The Cavs, even though they lost yesterday, might have one of the most complete starting lineups in the NBA.
Yeah.
Donnie had 31 in his debut. Dude, I said this before the year started. The Raptors don't make sense of how they're this good. Every single year, they are just easily the most well-coached team. Nick Nurse is an amazing coach. Even when they had Dwayne Casey, amazing coach. Like, they have no business winning how they win. But here they are, beating the Cavs again. Like, it's really impressive. And the Cavs are a really, really well put together team. Garland actually left this one. He got hurt, got poked in the eye.
Yeah.
But the Raptors are the exact same team and somehow make it work.
One spin move, Siakam. Like, you figure at some point people have to figure out his one spin move. But
Siakam, I don't even think is that good, but somehow 23 points.
Yeah, he plays well. Scotty Barnes is up and coming. He's great.
Yeah. OG's awesome.
Yeah.
And Obi.
But yeah,
a team that somehow can make it work. I don't think they added anyone except for Wancho. Yeah, Precious Achua, he's a really good player. But I don't think they added one other person. Remember, like, the crazy stat that no one was above 6'7"? I think that's still the case.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a center. Yeah, I'm looking at their roster right now. They literally don't have a center. That's insanity. But they make it work all the time. It's crazy.
Yep. And then just looking at tonight, Bucks at Sixers will be a fun one to watch. Bucks opener, and then Sixers home opener. So the Sixers need to find a way to bounce back. So I'm a little nervous about this one, and then we got a treat right after Clippers at Lakers, which
Clipper
I think
tree?
the Clippers should handle them pretty easily. But you never know with LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron could carry the load, and that could
Uh,
be the difference of the game.